It's quite common to see individuals who are broke before every paycheck. These individuals spend every bit of money they earn before the month ends, and then they have to rely on friends or family for support. And if that sounds like you, well, maybe you've got some poor financial habits. But being financially illiterate isn't the end of the world, okay? In fact, seeing it as a problem is the first step in turning things around. So if you're up for some financial growth, then this video is for you. Today we're taking a look at 15 signs of financially illiterate individuals, and of course, some helpful tips on how you can turn the ship around. Sound good? All right, let's get right to it. Welcome to Alux. Number 1. You spend without a budget. This is usually the first and most obvious sign of a person who makes poor financial decisions: spending without a budget. Some individuals like to believe that budgets prevent them from spending their money the way they want, but the truth is, having a budget helps you to spend your money with a plan. Having a budget also gives you a good idea of how much you've earned and how you should spend it. Budgets can also help you to see what you've been spending the bulk of your money on. Spending without a budget does the exact opposite. You're constantly in the dark about your income and expenditure, and it's only a matter of time before your entire finance structure comes crashing to the ground. Number 2. You know nothing about your credit scores. We know what you're thinking. Credit scores are so difficult to understand. So rather than bother with this largely misunderstood concept, you've decided to ignore it entirely. But ignoring your credit score isn't going to magically make it go away. And if you're constantly taking loans, there's a huge chance your credit scores are affected by it. In fact, most banks wouldn't give you a loan unless you provide your credit score. Also, understanding your credit score isn't as much of a big deal. It's basically a scoring model which is used by lenders to determine if you qualify for a loan. Today, FICO scores are mostly used by lenders, so that's a good starting point to learn about credit scores. Number 3. You don't like investing. Investing? Isn't that for people who've got $1 million in the bank? Of course not, Aluxer. If you constantly find yourself refusing to invest because you think it isn't right for you, it sort of shows that you don't really know everything there is to know about finance. But a solid clarification here: investing is for everyone, but not every type of investing is perfect for every individual. To invest, it's crucial you find an investment opportunity that you understand well and that it fits your income. For instance, investing in cryptocurrency sounds like a great idea, but how much do you know about this market and the volatility there? While making the decision to invest is important, it is equally vital that you find the opportunity that perfectly fits your financial capabilities. Losing all of your money to an investment opportunity sounds almost impossible, but hey, it happens, and it sucks. Here's a simple lesson to remember when you're about to start investing. Stocks mean you're buying an ownership stake in a company, while investing in bonds means you're loaning money to a company or even the government to be repaid with a certain interest. Number 4. You spend all of your money at once. Have you ever met anyone who can't seem to stop spending money? It's like they can't stop until they've spent every dime they've got. Well, these individuals are ones who live from paycheck to paycheck, who take loans every month, yet you always find them using the latest devices and the newest fashion items. Not only does this show a lack of financial discipline, it also shows that these individuals have no idea what their financial priorities are. They're easily swayed by the newest trend, and they wouldn't mind spending all their money on it. Number 5. You take toxic loans. It is impossible not to take loans, especially when we need to make large purchases like a home or a car. But knowing the best loans to take is sometimes just as important as the loan itself. Ever heard of a payday loan? These are no doubt one of the most toxic and predatory loans available out there, and it seems like they were designed to specifically target the financially illiterate. Well, first off, these loans are usually short-term, which means you have to pay them back in a month or less. However, what makes these loans almost life-threatening is the interest rate on them. Some of these loans have interest charges of almost 40%, and when you miss a payment, the loan rolls over and there is an increase in the interest. Do you remember the show Squid Game? Well, the main character took a toxic loan from a notorious loan shark, and it led him to a game that almost took his life. When you take out a toxic loan, you're forced into an endless cycle of interest rates, which you'll sometimes need another loan to cover, which then again results in another loan and more crazy interest rates. Number 6. You pay so much in bank fees. We pay for almost everything we do, so wouldn't it feel a little better if we didn't have to pay so much banking fees? Well, if you're still paying exorbitant banking fees in 2022, it kinda shows that you aren't completely in tune with your finances. When you open a savings or a checkings account, there are a number of common fees you have to look out for. This includes service fees, transaction fees, insufficient fund fees, a number of others too. But while some banks still charge for these, you shouldn't be paying any of them in the first place. In fact, most banks have dropped their overdraft charges, and you can own a bank account without paying these insane fees. All you gotta do is find the right bank for you. If you're still stuck with a bank whose banking fees are taking a huge percentage out of your paycheck, well, it's definitely time for you to migrate to a new bank. Number 7. You don't know the difference between wealth and income. We hate to ruin your party, okay? But making big bucks at your job doesn't necessarily mean that you're wealthy. Come on, we all know that Elon Musk isn't the richest person in the world because of his monthly income at Tesla. Wealth is built, and while it isn't your monthly income, it depends on it to a large extent. You also have to invest wisely, save when necessary, and totally avoid high-interest loans when you want to build wealth. Also, you might want to cut back on the excessive spending as quickly as possible. Number 8. You pay bills late. It's quite common to miss a payment, but it becomes a problem when it starts to be a regular part of your finances. Paying bills late has a sort of ripple effect on your finances. It begins with additional charges, which could typically mess up your budget. Also, being late on a debt will affect your credit score, bringing it down drastically. And we all know too well it takes a whole lot of work to get this score back up. To avoid late bill payments, you can use mobile finance apps to keep on top of your due dates and deadlines, so you never have to worry about forgetting your payment due dates ever again. Number 9. You don't have a financial safety net. Not having a savings account is similar to not having a backup plan. What would you do if you suddenly lost your job? Would you fall back onto your family and friends for loans, or just get by with your savings? But if you haven't got a savings account, well, you've got no other choice than to take out a loan. Now, depending on where you get this loan from, you might either have to pay exorbitant interest rates or pay back these loans in an almost impossible time frame. This also means that the first income you earn at a new place of work will be for servicing your loans rather than taking care of your basic needs. But guess how you can avoid all of these? By setting aside a few bucks every month as your savings. Number 10. You don't have the necessary insurance. Insurance was designed to help us stay afloat in the event of a financial loss. So having none basically means you're leaving yourself out in the cold. While that might sound a little extra, not having the right insurance policy is enough to have your entire finances in ruins. Let's take the scenario as an example. You own a restaurant you inherited from your parents. Now, this restaurant is doing so well, you have more than enough money to live your best life. But unfortunately, you don't have any insurance protecting this business because you believe that since your parents never had insurance, there's no real reason for it. However, a terrible fire breaks out one morning and the restaurant burns to the ground, leaving you with nothing. Now, if you've got insurance, you should have enough money to rebuild the restaurant back up. But without insurance, well, you're left with nothing but a burnt building and a destroyed business. Number 11, you don't have an emergency fund. If a person hasn't got a savings account, a strong insurance policy, or an emergency account, well, it's safe to say that they're completely out of touch with their finances. As we mentioned in our previous video, emergencies are part of life, and even though we never know what type of emergency awaits us, it will do us a whole lot of good to plan against it. But here's the thing. A savings account is quite different from an emergency fund account. While savings accounts are there to help you survive on rainy days, an emergency fund account is geared toward helping you afford whatever emergency you might face, such as a surprise medical situation and some steep hospital bills. Number 12, you don't completely understand the state of your finances. Financially illiterate individuals live by the sentiment that what they don't know won't harm them. Well, not with your finances, my friend. Ignoring and not paying attention to your finances isn't going to make them go away or get any better. In fact, your lack of supervision will only complicate things further. This is why most individuals in this category tend to pay huge bank and credit card fees, simply because they have no idea what's going on with their finances. They just make money and spend it however they like. Number 13, you live above your means. Hey, there's no harm in buying the newest mobile phone or the latest Nike sneakers, but it becomes concerning when you buy it even when you know you can't really afford it. Strangely, some individuals wouldn't mind taking out a loan to buy the latest iPhone. Living above your means not only puts you at the risk of constantly being broke, it also means you won't have enough time to take care of your basic needs. Number 14. You're not a part of your employer's 401k plan. We know you've heard of a 401k. It's the most common way you can prepare for your retirement. But you know what's even more common? A belief that your employer's 401k plan isn't right for you. Well, when you refuse this plan, you're basically passing up free money. And worse, you aren't doing enough for your retirement plan. If you have a 401k plan where you put $100 a month in, you would have saved up thousands of dollars by the time you retire. Number 15. You run out of money before the bill gets paid. If you realize you always run out of money before you can settle your bills, well, then you're doing something wrong. This could be partly due to the fact you spend without a budget, and it could also mean that you buy things you don't need. Defaulting on your bills means you'd have to pay extra fees for late payments, which in turn will affect your next paycheck. To avoid all of these, create a list of every bill you have to pay each month, and then strive to pay them first after every paycheck. This way you don't have to worry about your telephone or electricity lines being cut off, and you also know how much play money you have left over after all of the responsibilities have been taken care of. And there you have it, Aluxer, 15 interesting ways you can identify a financially illiterate individual. Did any of these sound like you? Now, it's not the time to beat yourself up in frustration. Come on, every video we make is a chance for you to take a step in the right direction, and this isn't any different. With dedication, a budget, and a positive mindset, you can turn around your finances. Sound like a deal? Well, we'll be cheering you on every step of the way. Now, if you made it until this point in the video, here's a thank you from everyone at Alux and an extra tip for you as a bonus. Number 16. You make no effort to learn about your finances. When you make no effort to become better with your finances, it just shows that you don't care about it or you have no idea how important it is. But searching for knowledge, it goes beyond just knowing your finances. How about learning about investment opportunities or learning about your taxes? Dear Aluxer, the possibilities are endless, okay? You just have to be willing to turn your finances around. Thanks for spending some time with us here today. We're so glad you did. If you found value in today's video, give us a like, hit the bell icon to never miss an upload, and hey, don't forget to subscribe.